let's do some Tai Chi. So allow your feet to touch, and then make your feet anywhere from 45 degrees to aligned in the center, whatever feels comfortable. And then grip your feet on the ground. Make the shape of your foot strong. Relax your tailbone. Push your head top up. Sink your shoulders. And then breathing deep, bring your hands together in the center. So then calibrate. Push your head top all the way up. How does it go up there? Head suspension power. So push up or feel like it's being pulled up. And then working your way down. Relax your brow. Open your vision. Can you wiggle your ears? Open your nostrils sideways to breathe more. Feel like you can expand your face and your sinuses. Activate the corners of the mouth so that you have at least a half smile. Relax your jaw, relax your lips. Connect the tongue to the upper palate, to the right place. Keep the chin tucked. When we have the head top up there, we don't want this. We want to have this lined up so the neck is straight. Relax your neck, relax your shoulders. Keep a small space in the armpit so the arms aren't completely resting, so that there's just a little bit of energy flowing through there. The chest is hollow. The back should feel soft and rounded. Rounded this way, straight vertically in the center. Use your center to support, and we're lifting the base of the torso when breathing. So the abdominal floor, the pelvic floor, lifting the bottom, the perineum, the sex organs, all of that when we're breathing, we're very gently. We don't want to flex it. Instead, just small contractions. Relax your tailbone. Imagine your tailbone is a curve, and that you want to have that curve pointing to your toes, to the toes in the front. Fold the insides of the hips, the inner legs, and then the knees are bent. We don't want them locked straight. Allow them to be natural and bent. Pull your heels in, flex your ankles, shape your foot. So activate all the tendons on the top of the foot, and then activate the toes. There's two different ways you can do it. You can either activate them by like a cat or an eagle when they use their claws like this, or you can think of driving them vertically into the ground like a tree or like a nail gun going vertical. Either way, and then open the bottoms of your feet so that you're using the top of your foot to create the shape, and the bottom of it can rest on the ground. See if, in fact, if you can do both. Activate the top of the foot and completely relax and open the bottom of the foot so that you can connect to the earth the same way your cars have a rubber tire on the bottom. The softer and more relaxed the bottom of your foot can be, the better. Absorbing chi from the earth. And then the breathing on the inside. There's lots of philosophies on breathing and counting your breathing and timing your breathing. For this class, just make it natural. And I recommend on the inhale, we're lifting the bottom, and on the exhale, it's relaxing. And then what's happening with your mind? Inside of your skull, you have a brain. See if you can physically relax your brain after the week. Allow your brain to unfold and relax. And your consciousness is in the Dantian. So everything you see through your eyes and hear through your ears and sense, this is like a periscope from the submarine. Your consciousness is rooted in the center. And when you put your mind there, you may find your hips and your shoulders adjust, that there's some type of adjustment that's happening. So with your mind in the center, you can be aware of what you see and aware of what you hear, and physically sense the outside world without being distracted by the sights, the sounds, etc. Take a deep breath. Let's actually do some Qigong. So, breathing, make this a stretch. Reach all the way up. And then reaching all the way out to the sides. Include your back. So from your center line, stretching all the way out. Go at your own pace. So grip the ground with your feet. Relax your tailbone. Stretch all the way up. And then reach all the way out to the sides. So while you're doing this exercise, breathing, expand all the way. Imagine something that we see man-made is the hot air balloon, which expands at the top, but until it's released is anchored at the base. Another thing you may see is they have holiday decorations and they inflate, and at the bottom they put a weight or some sand. So you can have the same feeling when you're practicing this type of Qigong, that the bottom half, that your feet and that your tailbone, my feet are parallel, by the way. The camera makes it look like they're going out right now. They are perfectly parallel. So make your body into a Tai Chi yin yang. The closer it is to the bottom, the heavier it's sinking to the earth, connected to the earth. And the further it is from the earth, the more that it's connected to heaven. So you can think of the bottom as black, dark, deep, and the top is white, light, floating. Contrast of yin and yang. Make it a stretch. And we're also gathering energy, Qigong, energy work. Effort for making energy. So while we're doing this, you can also see if you can relax your lungs, relax your ribs, relax your torso, so that your breathing can be full and also relaxed. Do two more wherever you're at in your, don't speed up or slow down, just breathe naturally and make the movement match the breathing. When you finish, return back to Tai Chi Harmony, so allow your feet to touch, bring your hands together in the center. Take a deep breath, and then recalibrate. Make sure the head top is all the way up there. Relax the face, open the vision, open the nostrils, activate the corners of the mouth, relax the jaw, connect the tongue to the upper palate, reshape the upper torso, support with the center of the torso. Relax the tailbone and allow the lower back to open, thereby folding the insides of the hips. Grip your feet, use your whole foot to connect to the ground. The top is active, the tendons on the top of the foot. The bottom is relaxed, soft, to both cushion and connect. Take a deep breath, relax. Let's do a little bit of a warm-up. So lock your shoulders in place, and I want you pushing up through your head top the whole time you're turning the circle. So we're stretching the neck. Remember to breathe, keep the tongue connected to the right place. change directions, and pushing the head top up the whole time. So try to lock your shoulders. My inclination is to move, but we can lock this and isolate this area in the top. When you come back to the center, keep your mind in the center and then do some shoulder rolls. So with your mind in the center, I want you to feel all of your ribs, your shoulder, collarbones go across the front, shoulder blade is in the back, and we have the ribs on either side, and I want you to feel that with the shoulder rolls that you get all of that moving. And then feel the muscles, feel where it's tense. Put your mind into that area. Return to the deep breathing. And check to see that you have at least a half smile. This is the minimum. Change directions if you haven't already. And by the way, this warm-up that we do, I repeat myself quite a bit. And the reason is because with some type of learning, when it talks about how to align the posture or putting the mind into the dantian, oh, do we alternate? Change directions. With this, when we alternate, keep your center line so straight and feel the movement is coming from the dantian. You can use any of these movements during the week. Most people in my culture working during the week, so when you're sitting at your computer after some hours like this, so tired, get up and move your torso, get back into the deep breathing. This type of activity. Let's continue. Take a square step, shoulder width wide, shoulder width deep. Also for the upper body. So pulling up through the head top, sinking through the tailbone. Let your hands connect in the back. It's easier if they're lower. You can add by shifting forward and backwards. Let's continue. Take a comfortable stance, and then we're going to turn. And the same thing, if I'm facing directly to my camera, my hips and my jawline want to stay in the center. Where I'm turning is at the waist. So keep working. Do the longest, most relaxed breathing that you can do during this. Pull the head top up. In fact, keep extending the head top up there while you turn, and you'll get a new understanding of this exercise. So take a break for a second, relax. I want to differentiate when we're practicing Tai Chi. We can talk about the hips, and the hips is talking about these two corners. If you reach down under your rib cage, you have some hips. Everybody has different shapes, size, and shapes for hips. But this hip is solid. It can't sort of move in pieces the same way our shoulders can, right? It's here. So we can talk about the directions the hips face. And then the next area up is the waist. And when I refer to the waist, I'm talking about the soft tissue between the hips and the ribs, right? So we have the rib cage that comes down and around the back, and we have the ribs that come around here, and the soft tissue in between. It's where your kidneys are, right? The kidney's about the shape of the face of your hand. So if you trace this all the way around, that's your waist. And then we have the rib cage, which also, like the hips, is made of bone. It doesn't flex, right? Maybe a little bit of something. The shoulders, neck, and head. So when we're doing this exercise, and later we're going to talk about turning the hips, the waist, the torso, neck, and spine separately. In this one, I want you to lock your jaw and lock your hips, and just turn the waist, the torso, and the base of the neck. So breathing deep. And then we're going to change. Release the opposing heel. So whatever heel is turning, so that your knee doesn't twist. That's bad form. This is a correct form. The whole front of your leg is always facing forward in the direction that it's traveling. So on this one, the same thing. Even when you turn, relax your shoulders, pull your head top up there, go back to the deep breathing, and see how the exercise changes. Grip your standing foot, come back to the center, relax. Let's do a little bit of folding, bending at the waist. So grip your feet, push your tailbone back and away. By the way, if you're at home, if you're practicing at home and you're worried about balance, you have balance issues, you can use a wall, you can use a door handle, chair, couch, anything that will make you feel more comfortable. It's your practice. Grip your feet, push your tailbone back and away, and then relax your spine. Relax your shoulders, your arms, your head, your neck. A lot of times people want to look up like this. See the camera? What's happening on the screen? I can't see. Now just let your head relax. Breathe and keep doing the exercise. And remember to breathe. Activate your feet. And then before we unroll, exhale, and then we're going to inflate. So grip the ground, use your abs, relax your spine, inflating all the way. Expand your lungs all the way, and relax. We're going to do that one more time. So by the way, the important thing, so that we don't lose our balance, is as the energy is coming up, that we also are rooting down, right? Because as we age, we start to lose the root. Aging, what happens with aging is this: when we're young people are growing against gravity, children. When they're literally growing vertically. But then once they reach adolescence and hit puberty and adulthood, they stop growing. And by that time, they've been sitting in these school desks that really don't fit human anatomy, and car chairs and airline seats, and then they get a job as an adult sitting in an office doing this. And so what happens is there's a breakdown, and the first thing that happens is the head and the neck. You have the head on top of this little stem, and it's this. And even this, the difference between here and here, is dramatic. If you have a garden hose and you bend it that much, you lose 15% of the water, right? So the energy that's going from the spine now can't get to the eyes, the ears, the teeth, the nose, the tongue. And so we start to lose color, things start to change and deteriorate. So keeping the energy up there means the energy can go all the way over the top. But then the other break happens in the lower body, because the head goes forward, we need to counterbalance, right? And so we get this kind of, until we have a cane, and then eventually lose balance. So the idea when we fold, gripping the ground, is to make the energy, the yin-yang, what we had started with, the difference, so that we lock ourselves to the ground and we're rooted, but the energy can come up without causing us to fall over. Let's continue. Grip the ground, breathing deep, push your tailbone back and away. Relax your spine, breathe. And hold it here until you can feel the chi or the blood or the energy moving in your back in line with gravity. That means you have to relax your back. You have to relax your shoulders. So grip the ground, and then use your abs, use your abdominal muscles to lift yourself up. Relax your spine, breathing, inflate, sink into the ground as much as you rise into the sky. And then relax. Let's do a little bit of leg stretching. So square step, shoulder width wide, shoulder width deep. And then we're going to fold the inside of the hip, sitting right in line with the foot, breathing deep, stretch as much as you can. And two things, your spine, either you're looking, your chin is pushing towards your fingers or your crown. One way or the other, breathing deep, push forward, step through, and then we're going to change to the other side. Shoulder width wide, shoulder width deep, sink back, breathing. You can use this leg for balance. If you're worried about balance, you can use a wall, furniture, something very sturdy to support yourself if you need. And the same thing here, either looking up and looking forward, or pointing your head top forward, looking down. Remember to keep that toe tilted up and try to breathe naturally. Step forward, take a deep breath, and relax. By the way, same thing. If you work in an office, if you work at a computer during the week, you see your chair, you can, before you have a seat, you can have a quick stretch on each side and then sit down. That ensures once a day before you sit down for work, you get a little bit of stretching. 5 seconds is better than none. 5 minutes is also better than none. So take some time, a little bit of time in the morning to practice. Today we are going to do some Tai Chi, and I want to talk about the hands. What are our hands doing for Tai Chi? Tai Chi, a lot of times, is considered to be a flowery martial art, when in fact it should be the exact opposite of that. The Chinese idea of efficiency, maximum efficiency, is present in Tai Chi. Anything that appears to be flowery comes out of its natural. By the way, this is grasp the sparrow's tail left and right. And let's be very accurate about how we do it. Grip your feet, make a square step, at least shoulder width wide, sink your tailbone, relax your shoulders. And then, like you're holding the ball, you feel this shape. You can see the shape on my screen that is in there. Have that same shape. It feels very round. And then imagine you're a statue, locked into place, and you can only turn your elbow, right? And you just want to turn the elbows. So pull the head top up, sink the tailbone down. And forget about your hands. We can make the hands like they're stiff. The students used to refer to this as like paddle hands, right? Like you have a paddle at the end of an oar, right? We're just moving the elbows. And connect the elbows through the back. So as you turn, when you reach one side, and by the way, you can make this as extreme if you like to make small circles this way, or if you like to make like a clock, like they're turning on the surface. But I want you to see if you can feel the connection through your back, from fingertips, through the back of the arm, through the center of the spine, and back to the other side for the fingertips. Change directions, roll the other way. Breathe. Keep the head top up there. So expanding the back, turning these circles. Change directions again and relax. So the first movement that we practice is grasp the sparrow's tail, and there's something happening with the hand, and this is something for beginners. It won't be possible to understand, because you need to understand the meaning of the movement to know what the hand is doing, right? So for advanced practitioners, when we're practicing, grasp the sparrow's tail is catching something in the hand, right? And the shape of the hand is determined by the activity. So sometimes we're grasping the sparrow's tail, and other times, ward off, you see the hand is rounded, like it's expanding this way. So we're going to talk about some various things that are happening when we do horizontal split hands. What are the hands doing in the middle, in between? And then also when we do punches and stuff. So let's actually review some hand and finger stretching. If you take one hand or the other, doesn't matter which one, and you lay the hand out in front of you, in line with your shoulder, Pull your fingertips together, take your other fingers and pull it back this way. By the way, some of these, I actually learned these finger stretches in a combination, in order of where I learned them was from a gym teacher, a physical therapist, and then lastly, Master Sousaphone, Grandmaster Sousaphone. So, and then turn your hand the other way, straight up, like you're reaching out, high five, right, this way. And then, I guess that would be a normal five, right, high fives up here. And the same thing, extending, so pull back on the fingers. With your other hand, relax your shoulder. You don't need to have that much tension while you do the stretch. And then take your hand like you're reaching across to do one of these things, or like you're doing a half of these, and pressing across this way. And then the same, we're going to turn the hand under and give it a stretch. If you can include your thumb in the stretch, do that too. Shake your hand out, do the other side. Same thing. Which way do we start? Palm out, palm down, press this way. Same thing. If you can grab your thumb with that, you can just do the fingers if it's not comfortable. And then change, reach out like you're pressing forward, and then the same thing, extend the arm, fingers, and then into the center. And then change. You can give it some, you can flex it a little bit if it's comfortable. Shake that hand out, and shaking both hands out, lock your shoulders into place. Move from your center. So my hands are moving because of my torso. I'm not just moving from here. We can do that. But make the movement come from your center, all the way from the middle, to relax the hands. Next, take your hand, place it this way. Take your other hand, put it on top. Try to line up the fingers as much as you can, and today is the day for hands. So do that a couple of times, change, put your other one out. Do some on that side as well. And then moving our way up, right? So working from the smallest joints. The next one is the wrists, right? So we have thumbs. This one again is fairly standard for Master Su's class. And then next, Grandmaster Sousaphone. We're going to turn the wrists. So we can do this as a Tai Chi exercise. If you relax, take a comfortable stance, and like hook, when we have hook and single whip. So turning the elbow or locking the elbow in place and turning the wrist to catch. So see if you can make the palm face all 360 degrees. Make your fingertips tracing an invisible circle all the way around. We can change directions. Imagine you have on the tip of your fingers, you have a rag and you need to clean the inside of a circle, a portrait or a pipe, something round, and that you're just using just the fingertips, so extending. And then change. We're going to do the same thing on the other side. You can lock the elbow, and doesn't matter which way, we'll go in this direction. So like we're doing hook, hook hand. And then just trace, use the fingertips. So move the whole wrist. Relax your forearms, relax your wrist. By the way, the same with every other joint. A little bit of popping is okay. It's just air leaving the joint. We don't want to force it. Some people forcing the knuckles or the joints to crack. But if it happens, it's okay. If you hear something else, if you feel like you hear grinding glass or some other type of sound, that's maybe we want to make a check before we continue with something like that. By the way, involve your thumb with this exercise as well. Take a deep breath, relax. Make sure that you, sometimes when we do this, watch my shoulder. By bringing my hand up, my shoulder wants to come up too, right? So we need to practice moving the hand like there's a string holding it. So literally just my hand is moving up. I don't have to raise my shoulder up to do it. So next, grasp the sparrow's tail. But now, moving the elbows. So earlier we did paddle hands. But now I want you to turn your wrists while you're turning your elbows. This is an exercise in coordination. Hopefully you're watching from your home in privacy, or where you can practice. We can just do one side at a time. If you take your other hand, rest it, you can put it, if this feels weird, you can put it in the center. If that feels weird, you can make some kind of shape. But turning the wrist and the elbow at the same time. So try to hit all 4 points on the circle: outside, bottom, inside, top. So coordinating the elbow and the wrist together. We'll just go one direction. And then the same on the other side. So the same thing, by the way, if you keep your hand somewhere over here, don't let it relax, because we're trying to feel between the fingertips from through the back. So all the way across. So on this one, turning, breathing. So let's do the first grasp the sparrow's tail. When we practice grasp the sparrow's tail, the meaning is something is coming towards us, and we want to take our arm and wrap it around it. This is one of the reasons the hands start to look what people might think is flowery, is they're actually aerodynamic. We practice Tai Chi very slowly, but sometimes the movements going to appear very fast. So this kind of slicing motion, instead of my hand having drag, right, aerodynamic drag, I can have it slice through the air and travel faster before I make the fist. Speaking of fists, even in the first section, when we said you have to know the meaning of the posture, the fists in Tai Chi are hollow. Why is that? We could say it's a Taoist martial art, and if we look at Chinese money, there's a space in the middle. So when we punch, we have at the beginning of the form, the end of the first section, Ban Lan Shui. Lan Shui, this punch is hollow. So imagine you have two spheres. One is made of stone and it's solid, and the other one is made of rubber and it's hollow. And you throw each of them at a brick wall. What will happen? The stone one will shatter. The rubber one, the racquetball, will literally compress and bounce back off. And so the idea for punching in Tai Chi is we don't make a solid rock fist. Why? Because there's great potential to break. Even if you leave a small space, you can take a finger to put in there. And if you like to increase the hardness of that for martial arts purposes, or to deliver power specifically, you can apply palm, right? So if I do this and I expand my fist, right? So I'm using my thumb to constrain my fingers, but I'm expanding it. I'm not pushing it towards the camera. I'm expanding outwards this way. So that makes it harder to hit. And if you hit something like the racquetball, there's a space for any vibration instead of going into the bones to break. So this is handwork. What about postures like when we have crane opening the wings? What are these hands doing here? It looks like we're just opening our fingers, right? It looks very flowery. So let's look at what is happening with crane. I have an opponent in front of me. They step forward, there's something in the center. I want to disrupt it this way. My hand is soft. Why? Because if the opponent is, like we had just said, very rigid, like a rock, and I'm rigid, right? It's like this. But if they're very rigid and I'm soft, I can create a better effect. So we match, we pair the yin and yang. The harder the opponent is, the softer we can be here. And then the same, the idea is we're connecting to the opponent, and I'm using this hand to push a part of their body away. So think of this hand like when the leaves coming off the tree and you have a rake. Some rakes are hard, but some, when you press into the ground, they have this type of softness, right? So that you can collect the leaves this way. So when we do crane, the opening, this wants to be soft. And then the next one's the same thing. I'm connecting to something and I'm moving it right past my center line. If I try to be rigid and I try to be hard, it's not as powerful as if I'm soft, right? The more relaxed, the more power. This is a dichotomy of Tai Chi. So play the harp is coming just past the center line and press. This is a press, a push, right? What if you're just beginning Tai Chi and you don't know what's happening with the hands? What should you do? I don't recommend doing paddle hands, grasp the sparrow's tail and ward off, right? For a medium level practitioner, somebody who's been studying for a while, practicing paddle hands may actually lend you quite a bit of understanding of the extra structure. So as an experiment for yourself, I did when I was younger. I practiced all different types of things, carrying, practice the form carrying bricks, practice the form with straight hands. I don't necessarily recommend. You can achieve all of that with just the Tai Chi form. You don't need anything extra. But for those of you that have the kind of mind that to examine that type of thing, you can. Let's do some Tai Chi. So if this is my center, the shape of our form is about like this. And so I'm going to start on the leftish side, or rightish, depending on where you're looking from the camera. Right? Bring your head top all the way up, sink your tailbone, grip your feet, bring your hands together in the center, connect the tongue to the upper palate, relax your tailbone. We're going to open shoulder width wide. Commencement. And then grasp the sparrow's tail right. Left, ward off. Left, grasp the sparrow's tail, step forward for right, ward off. Breathing deep to roll back. Join the palms together for press. Open the hands to push, look left, glance right, double press. Horizontal, split, hook, turn the elbow and wrist, single whip. Turning back to the north, this is lift hands to upward facing posture, roll up, turning 90 degrees to the west. This is crane, opens the wings. Play the harp, brush knee, press to the center. Square step back. This is white crane opening the wings. Number 2. Play the harp, brush knee, press. Brush knee. C step. Press, brush knee, C step. Press to the center, holding the moon in the chest. Ban Lan Shui. Corner, parry, hollow fist. Corner, parry, the fist is hollow. By the way, for the first one, this fist can be solid because it's not a punch. Open, punch to the center, Ru Feng. Si Bi. Let's continue to the second section. So when we return tiger to mountain, we're going to bring left hand and right foot, right hand and left foot, all together, turning body, warning palm, breathe deep to roll back. Press, push, look left, glance right, double press, horizontal split, hook, turn back. So look at the moon. This is a custom hand posture, spear fist. Repulse the monkey. Press. Avoid, make contact. Advance, repulse the monkey, number 3. Opening to the side. This is sheer fade. Diagonal flying. Heidi Zhang. San Tombe. Block punch kick. Square step. Lan. No breaks. Open fist to punch. Di Wu Hua. Shang Bu Yi. Press. Push. Look left. Glance right. Double press. Split. Hook. Side whip. We'll go to cloud hands. Press right. Press left. Press right. Step. Press left. One more on each side. Press right. Step. Press left. Hook. Corner whip. You can just bring the hands together in the center when you finish. Take a second when you finish, where you finish, to be still. So connect your feet to the ground, the same way we mentioned earlier. Soften the bottom, activate the top, put your mind into the Dantian. Extend the head top. Check to see that you have a half smile. Okay, breathing deep. Hook and whip, hands. Let's actually think of hands in a different way. First we have avoid, then we have make contact, and then we have advance. And usually the avoid means that our hands are facing away. There's a concept in Tai Chi that we keep our hands to ourselves. How many were on the school bus and we were either told or had another child told, keep your hands to yourself in the classroom, in the school, something. So the same. For the avoid part of it, usually our hands are in. If we're boxing, the hands are covering this way, right? But the hands, for the next phase, so when we're standing, when we have commencement, the hands are facing down or in. And after the avoid, after we move, the next one is to make contact. And that's usually the palm is out. Let's look at another posture we know, horizontal split hands. I'm standing here minding my own business. And by the way, this room is square shaped. So this is actually good. You can imagine power coming from the corner. So horizontal split hands, my avoid, my hands are here. What if I can't get there in time and I get hit? It's better to get hit with my own buffer than the thing that's actually going to hit me. So the avoid, the hands are up, it looks like this. And then as the power comes closer, the palms change the other way to catch. And then how the Tai Chi posture resolves is to throw the item down, specifically with gravity, but away from your center, depending on its level of danger to yourself or other people. So my hands are facing me, then they face away from me, and then they face each other to deliver the... Let's look at hook and whip with the hands, right? If we have hook, this one, my hand for the avoid phase, right? Why don't we step and hook this way? We could, it makes something different. But if I'm doing this, you see my hand facing out. And then when I want to connect to the opponent, my palm changes the other way. And then from here, this gripping, we're not actually holding on to the opponent this way. We can talk about the martial specifics of hook and whip later, but we leave a space. If there's a bird's beak like this, you see the inside of my hand is hollow, and there's actually some spaces between my fingers. It's not, we're not holding it pinched like this, right? We can at the moment of impact if we're going to use it for a strike, but soften the fingers, palm in, palm out, palm down to connect. And the same thing with this. For the avoid, it's here. The make contact, the palm changes. And for the advance, we can apply a number of karate chop, right? We can slice this way, right? These fingertips. So, hands. Horizontal split, hook, single whip. What about crane? We have avoid. We have this little disruptor at the beginning, this other hand that happens. And then the hands here facing out, and then they change. Facing in, sorry, and then they change to facing out. Some postures, when we have turned back to look at the moon after the hook, this hand is part of the avoid. I'm avoiding, maybe starting to make contact here with this hand. This other hand make contact. Look, my palm is out and down. And then when I press forward, it's a spear fist. Repulse the monkey. Avoid. Hand is facing in, and by the end, the other palm is facing out. So I'm defending here, step back, press. Scoop, step, press into the center, right? This type of press. Anyone here have questions, thoughts, comments, hands? We have about 10 minutes left. So these obviously all can be covered by individual postures. Each posture has its own things that are happening with the hands. Let's look at something like Zogu and Yopan. If I step back in Zogu, the avoid, my hand is actually facing out the whole time. And then when I turn, the same thing, because I'm using this as a type of buffer, and this other hand comes in to support. So there's no specific rule of thumb what's happening with the hands, except you must know the meaning of the posture. You must know the martial arts. What is happening? If a dog jumps up, if you're standing there and a big dog jumps up on top of you, and you like to use Zogu and Yopan. By the way, once you start practicing the Tai Chi form, these shapes will emerge naturally from your movement. Your body will retain muscle memory, and you'll start to feel it. You'll be doing something, you'll be sweeping something, and you'll feel your Dantian, you'll feel your whole body lined up with power, right? And you can suddenly have some Tai Chi idea for sweeping. So practicing the form is very important, because at the time of action, when it happens, you won't sit there and say, what is the correct Tai Chi application to use in this? No, a dog's jumping up. You just throw it to the side, right? And so you step and you protect your center line, your face. You have your forearm here, right? So if the camera is in the center and the dog is jumping here, I first make some room for myself. And I put my hand to protect, and this other hand's already coming in to guide, and then sitting back on my rear foot, I'm going to turn my waist. I can even leave my hips. The hips may turn a little bit. I may get a little bit of action from the the hip joints, not talking about the pelvis. Pelvis and waist turning. And now I have this, like a turnstile. When you go to the subway or you use the bus station, and they have a thing, and it turns when you walk through. It's a post, right? It turns this way. So you're making a very dynamic, powerful structural turnstile for the dog to and find itself back on the ground in 2 dimensions. So this is a very simple idea of application. What happens to the hands? This hand protecting the self. This creates a type of springy shape. This other hand is guiding. If it's a human and they're shoulder checking, I may leave this elbow more down to be more of a shock absorber, like we had shown earlier. And then this other hand steering to send them in a particular direction. Questions, thoughts, comments, ideas? Everyone is muted. Well, except me. Okay, let's actually close. Let's just do some Qigong to close. And if you do have questions, hands, like I said, there's sort of individual postures. You have to practice the form, know the meaning of the form, and that's a process you have to put together. Grip your feet. We're going to start, doesn't matter which side you start on, breathing. Keep your pelvis locked forward as much as you can. Keep the head top pulled up there. Sink your tailbone. Last week we said imagine your tailbone is like the chi from your tailbone like a waterfall, continuously sinking down. That means actually you can relax your legs because they're structurally, don't relax your feet. Keep gripping just the top, just the front. And you should be able to find a posture where you can stand comfortably without using effort. Breathing. Make the breathing match the movement. And next I want you to put something in your mind. I want you to have an idea for something that you like to do, the kind of experience you'd like to have, the kind of people that you'd like to meet, or the kind of solitude that you'd like to find. Whatever it is, have something in your mind. And I want you to envision what it would be like to meet that person, those people, or to find that solitude, to find the community or the nature, whatever it is. Imagine what it is to win the tournament, to win the game. What is the feeling like afterwards? At some point, change directions. So on one side or the other, top or the bottom, doesn't matter, anywhere, change and do some going the other way. And so the same thing, whatever you're facing at work or play, imagine coming out on the other side with success. What is that feeling? Check to see that you haven't changed your half smile, or at least only improved it. I'm not counting, and I'm certain I haven't done as many on this direction as I have the other, but we're getting on time. So, go at your own pace, do your own Qigong. When you finish, return back to Tai Chi Harmony. Allow your feet to touch, bring your hands together, connect the tongue to the upper palate, and then moving your mind into the Dantian. So after we do lots of movement and lots of Qigong, even after a long day of work, recollecting our thoughts go well out into the world. So bringing everything back, connecting our bodies to the ground and connecting our minds to our body here in the Dantian. So imagine all the energy. If you feel warm after working out, breathing, imagine that you can, like a magnet, draw all that heat to the center, and you're going to store it so that you have energy for later in the day, for later in the week, for later in your life. Long breathing. Allow the eyes to close as much as you feel comfortable. And then with your mind in the center, you can turn your eyes as if you're looking at your center. And inside, on your inside, have some gratitude practice for yourself. You can say thank you, you can sing it, you can mumble it if that's really how you feel about yourself. You should probably do it with at least a half smile. And you have a mind, a body, qi, capable of doing something extraordinary, Kung Fu, Tai Chi. So there's quite a bit to be grateful for. Even if your body doesn't work, you have the alignment tools to put everything back in the right shape so that your body can create the conditions for healing. Smiling on the inside to yourself. With gratitude, one long, last, deep breath. And that's it. Have a great weekend. We will talk more about hands with individual postures. So call, text, write if you have questions.